Greetings and welcome to my channel. I want to talk about what I think is the most important step toward FI and what's probably the most difficult. My first step started 24 years ago. There were two things behind my first step. The first was the book Investing for Dummies. I picked it up. I had very little interest in finance prior to that. I knew I should save some money, but I didn't really know where or what to do with it. And second, oddly, was a retirement savings compound interest chart above a urinal at my first duty station. And kind of a weird place to put it, but hey, it worked for me. I went to a physical Fidelity investment location in Portland, Maine, and deposited a check for $500 into a traditional IRA. The following year, I converted it to a Roth IRA when the value was actually below $500, so there were no gains to be taxed. This was not intentional, just luck. It's funny to think back to actually going into a physical location and starting an account. And surprisingly, the physical locations are still around. I guess people still deal that way, but I haven't stepped into a physical Fidelity location since that day. And I've been using Fidelity for the last 24 years. I had to estimate the first 10 years using S&P 500 returns since I was invested in funds that closely mirrored the S&P 500. In 2008, I started actively managing the account, but I've slightly underperformed the S&P, and the value is at $3,666 versus $3,763 it could have been if I had just invested in an S&P fund. Now, I will say that some of this money is invested in bonds, which is not a great idea inside of a retirement account. But there is a small amount that's invested in bonds, and unfortunately, I haven't kept all of the cash at work the entire time. Lately, some of the cash has not been reinvested, and I've actually fallen off my biannual rebalancing that I was doing. So I haven't been rebalancing as much. I've actually been moving more money into IVV, which is S&P 500. And eventually, almost all of it's probably going to work its way into an S&P 500 fund. I decided to also estimate the future value of the first $500. And I decided to use 9% and actually my return over the last 24 years has averaged about 9%. And I figured I'll use 9% growth going forward. May or may not happen that way. Obviously, there's no guarantee. But if I do get 9% in 2032, when I can start withdrawing from the IRA, my first $500 invested back in 1997 could be worth about $9,461. If I wait 6 more years, it could be worth $15,867. And keep in mind, at 9%, we're looking at the money doubling about every 8 years, going by the rule of 72. So why would I look back at this as a possible topic, or why did I even think about doing this? And a few years ago, I was curious when I started looking into financial independence and early retirement about what the financial impact my decision to start a retirement account at the age of 24 had, so I calculated it. I know it's nothing more than showing the power of compounding and time, but it's also related to the story of my first steps. I had just gotten married earlier that year and was always planning for the future. This was something that I felt like, okay, if I can give up a little bit of it today for a better tomorrow, then I'm willing to make that sacrifice. Which it's not really a sacrifice because for me, I like to plan ahead. So to me, instead of buying either experience, current day experiences or buying things, I was buying time, and that was always the plan, was I was going to buy time. There's no guarantee I was going to live to the time when I could use it, but there was benefit for me in the present. And there always has been benefit for me in the present in saving for the future, because I get a certain amount of peace of mind, and it's actually over the years become more exciting to save for the future than to buy stuff for now. And now that I'm retired, I'm actually reaping the benefits of that, and I'm actually able to use that money. So currently, I'm not saving anymore. I'm spending down money that I saved prior to retirement. I had no idea then that I might retire before 65, but I'm glad I took that first step. And considering almost all of my retirement assets are in a Roth IRA, all of my contributions, if I need those in early retirement, which they're the last pool of money that I will be drawing from, if needed. But all of those contributions I can take out with no tax consequences because I've already paid the taxes on that money. As long as I leave in the gains until age 59 and a half, I'm good. Thank you for hanging in there till the end. I hope you liked this video. It should be pretty short. Um, I'm looking forward to future videos on personal finance and retirement, specifically retirement funding. So IRAs and the differences between Roth and traditional 401ks. And if you liked it, please leave a like, subscribe, and leave comments below. And until next time, if you're going to retire, retire to something.